Jeff Peterson from Heartland Farm Partners is our marketing analyst this week. The USDA is maintaining its thoughts on a big 2014 harvest. The agency Thursday estimated corn production at 14.4 billion bushels on an average yield of 171.7 bushels per acre. Its soybean projection of 3.91 billion bushels comes on an average yield of 46.6 bushels per acre. Both the corn and soybean outputs and yields would be new records. Jeff joined us on the grounds here Thursday. We began by asking for his reaction to the USDA's September crop report.
You know, overall, Jeff, not a lot of surprises for us. You know, we've saw some bigger yields come out on both the corn and bean side. I think there's some bigger yields down the road. So overall, we're really not too surprised in what the numbers ended up stating.
Initially, there was a lot of red on the board, though. The markets took it pretty hard.
You know, they did, and I think the main reason they did is that the numbers for both yield and also production and the carryout, it was higher than what the yield was or the market was expecting. So anytime you get something higher than expectation, that makes everybody nervous and they want to sell it.
Yeah, now the production and yield numbers in both corn and beans, they're all records, but you guys think that those could step up a little bit more yet?
Yeah, we do, and I think the best way that we're kind of wrapping our mind around that and helping explain that is that, first off on corn, as we study USDA's numbers, and as they in particular look at the amount of ears out there, right now they're forecasting 29,000 ears per acre. That'll be a new record. And as we look a little bit deeper into the numbers, we see their ear weight. Their ear weight's about 0.345. 2004 and 2009 were higher than that. So we do believe there is a chance for those ear weights to go up a little bit. It's a little bit early in the season for us. If you think about going out in your own field, you know, those ears aren't mature yet. And as a result, when they get a chance to really see how they fully filled out, they get a chance to take them back into the lab and dry them down, I think we're going to find some higher ear weights yet.
And in soybeans?
Yeah, in soybeans, pod counts aren't real good. I mean, they're kind of average. However, what we are seeing from them is a new record pod weight. And I do think because of the weather conditions we've had, if you think about the lack of stress in the beans, they really are going to have a good chance of filling very, very well. So we're still looking for that pod weight to go higher. That in turn, when you couple that with the pod count, should still give us a higher yield down the road.
And you believe those numbers will come in the next 2 or 3 reports?
Yeah, those will come over time. And really the only thing that's probably keeping them from coming sooner is the fact that, you know, the crop maturity, as we look at the growing degree units, as we feel these temperatures we're feeling now and see our breath, yeah. You know, as a result of that, the crop is slowing down on maturity. It just isn't far enough along to get a good assessment of it.
So with these things said, and you know, the way the market took it today, I'm wondering if you're looking more so at how much lower the floor can go. Before, I think when we talked last time, we were talking about where's the floor potentially. Has that moved even lower?
I think it has. Yeah, it has. I mean, I think it's temporarily kind of being held up right now. We've got a chance of some frost and freeze coming at us here over the next couple days. So I think that's maybe keeping a little bit of floor underneath us. And as a result, I think everybody's wanting to see how this crop progresses before we ultimately put in our harvest lows.
So we know it's going to be a big crop on both sides either way. Where does it go? Where's the demand for it?
Yeah, there's been a really good amount of demand out there, Jeff. Starting first on corn, the thing that we're noticing out there, ethanol demand, when you have the ethanol price where it's at compared to really the oil price where it's at and ethanol price, very, very good demand there. On the export side, export's a little bit different. I think we're going to have to work to hit our export number. The reason is there's a lot of bushels available coming out of South America. They're going to be competitive. As we also look to Europe, we end up finding that Europe had a good wheat crop, very poor quality, and as a result there's a lot of feed available there, so they won't need as much corn. So that takes a lot of that Black Sea corn, puts it right back against us competitively where we have to compete. And then on top of that, we talk about the US dollar index, and that's been creeping higher. Anytime that creeps higher, it makes us a little bit harder to sell our product.
Tell me about the demand for soybeans before Brazil and Argentina get their crop out of the ground.
I think the demand for soybeans is really good. We have to keep a close eye on China. China's a big consumer. They're the real wild card, but it really looks like the demand is strong. It's also pretty front loaded for the U.S., and that's going to be pretty good for us as a country, because it does mean that we're going to get a chance to get a lot of beans as they come off the combine. We're going to be able to get them into the marketing channels. The biggest question the market has, though, Jeff, is the farmer going to sell them when he harvests them?
Stocks to use in both are going to be much larger than normal, yes?
Yes, most definitely much larger than normal. A lot larger than normal in the U.S., but then also looking on the world side. It's not on the world side that, on the corn side, it's not that it's a burdensome number. It's still in an area that if we'd have a weather problem out there or something would happen, it's something that it still could get a bounce in the market. On the bean side, though, it's a big number.
Tell me where you guys are on selling strategies for the 2015 crop, corn and soybeans.
Yeah, on the selling side, I think and it's a great question to bring up right now, is that we are sold. We've got bushels sold for the 2015 crop. I think if you're sitting there as a producer right now and haven't sold anything on the corn side, I still think in this area making some very light sales if you're willing to defend it down the road if conditions change. Over on the bean side, we feel beans have more downside potential than what corn does. We could see another 75, 80 cents a bushel down in beans. So as a result, I think getting beans sold here still is a good idea on the 2015 crop.
How are you seeing basis move as we approach harvest, a potentially long harvest?
Yeah, and that's changed my attitude. If we'd roll back and look what I said probably 3 weeks ago, I'm probably not as bearish on basis as I was 3 weeks ago. I do think we will see a lower basis number at some time where we're at, unless this harvest really gets drawn out. I think if we look at the maturity on this crop, it's definitely slowed down. It's not maturing. A lot of this is going to be wet. So what that's going to end up meaning is that we're going to have the crop is going to come to town slower. I wouldn't be surprised right for harvest basis here in Nebraska to see a little bit better basis yet in the gut slot harvest time spot for corn and soybeans. Overall though, I think at some point we'll drift lower. After that, it's really going to come down to how much does a farmer sell. What we're seeing there is we're kind of the opinion as we put our plans together is that I think it's going to be really hard to get grain out of these farmers' hands once they go ahead and get these bushels tucked away.
I want you to qualify something for me. Earlier you said it's important to note that when we're talking about these prices, it's a different market in both commodities. Why is it a different market now?
Yeah, and when I say a different market, there's really two items that I would address on that. One, we're now below cost of production. So all of a sudden the livelihood of our businesses are at stake. Secondly, the market is much more global than it would have been the last time we were back down to its prices. We've got more competition out there in the Black Sea. We've got more competition coming out of South America. What that means is that, and also China is consuming more. Anytime you have more global items going on, more global influence, you have to be watching things bigger. You also have to be prepared for more surprises, which means you have to have a marketing plan that is able to adapt to the conditions that's out there.